Good afternoon, everyone. Welcome. Thank you so much for coming to today's lunch session. This is the first session in 5 in a year-long series of professional development luncheons that is put together by HR and IS&T. I was going to make a joke about the sound. I'd like to introduce Mark Braun from HR. Mark, you want to tell everybody a little bit about yourself?
Sure. My name is Mark Braun. I'm an organizational development consultant, mostly on the medical campus. And the reason I'm here is about 10 years ago through a group called the Boston Consortium, we started a leadership fellows program and we had a certain model. And we've been doing it for 10 years. And so I've taken that model and applied it on the medical campus with a lot of our clinical and academic folks. So now we're using it here. So, me.
Great, and I am Linda Jarrett. I am an assistant director at the IT Help Center. Many of you know me through my work in client services there. I also have a strong background in training and staff development. I have my master's in education in human development and education through SED, and followed that up with certification as an executive and personal coach through the School of Social Work. So this is a nice crossing of some of my great interests. I'm really excited that we're all here today. Okay. So you guys are probably thinking about, what is this going to be like? I know that as we get the program off, to a good start, there's still some confusion about what's happening. And I know some people are afraid that it's just going to be all work-related. That's going to be all work-related. That is going to be ITIL and best practices and continual improvement. And maybe some of you are even more afraid that it's going to be Cosmo quizzes and vision boards and trust falls. Or worse yet, maybe you're all just kind of thinking that it's going to be nothing new. Well, the honest answer is we're going to land somewhere in between all of that. We're hoping to give you a familiar context so we can all go forward with visions and values. As we go through, there are some exercises. If they get a little uncomfortable, just try to stick with it for us. Discomfort is often where a lot of the good work happens, when you're asking yourself some questions. Okay? I want to be very clear that hopefully some of this will benefit you in your work. However, these exercises are purely for you. We will have some opportunities to share and to talk to other people in the room, but you do not need to do that if you're not comfortable, or you can share up to the amount that you're comfortable. As we're going through, we're just going to kind of open the door for you to investigate your own vision and values. So remember that everything that happens here today is just for you, and you're in control of your whole experience. So these are our session goals. Really, it's pretty easy. We want to help you see where you are, what you're about, and how to use the two to get you where you want to go. We want to encourage you to take stock of your values and use them as a guide, provide you with an opportunity to understand and identify values that are most important to you, and also to use those as a lens to review your actions, behaviors, and to create a vision statement. So it's easy to say you have a vision, but do you have a plan to get there? And what would you do to get there? Anything? Anything within reason? Or do you want to feel good about yourself when you arrive? Always a plus. So IS&T is taking some of these actions. So we all attend all IS&T meetings, and we all religiously read the IS&T newsletter. If you don't, you should. It's full of fantastic things. And you've heard about how IS&T is doing a strategic plan. And many of you, hopefully all, have seen this graphic hanging on the walls in your office. IS&T is taking time to do the hard work in dealing with its stakeholders to see about what we as an organization have as a vision and make sure that it is in alignment with our values. Okay? It's not a fast process. The strategic planning process right now is scheduled to go from 2013 to 2017. Okay, so we have an hour. And you've got your whole life. So we're going to open the door and hopefully give you some tools so that you can do this introspective work and think about it. If you have questions after, both Mark and I are available for you. So feel free to send us an email or follow up with us in some other way that you feel, whatever way you feel comfortable. So what are values? Values are those things that you believe are important in how you live and work. Your values can help you determine your true priorities. They help you decide where to spend your time. And when your actions and behaviors match up to your values, things feel pretty good. You feel all right with how you're living your life. When they don't match up, that's when you start to feel like things are a little off, or they could be better, or maybe you're in a bit of a rut. So you'll be able to use your values to build your personal and professional vision statements. So we're going to jump right in. We have paper and pens available, so if you need paper and pens, just let us know and we'll run around and get them to you. Okay. So what we're going to do is display a list of values. Okay. We ask that you select 10. Okay. We're going to read them off, and as you go through, just write down the ones that resonate with you. Don't be too concerned about getting down to 10 values right away. I know the first time I did this exercise, I had about 28 values. And then afterwards, I just took some time to compare them. So when you're deciding between two values, try to imagine a scenario where you'd have to make a real-life choice. So say if you're trying to choose between stability and service, imagine that you have to decide whether to sell your house and move to another country to do foreign aid work, or keep your house and volunteer to do charity work closer to home. So stability versus service. Which one would you choose? Okay. You have paper and pens? Everybody else set? If you still need something, wave your hand and we'll have... All right, so I'm going to go. Also, this list that we have is just one possible list. Feel free to tweak the words if they're not quite right, if they don't fit, or add your own words if you see something if you feel something that's not there. Okay, so your list is only for you. Yes, questions?
Is it that the value that the words we're going to be choosing are values that we value highly, or
values that are important to you in your life?
Okay.
Okay, so we're going to start with 10 in no particular order.
This is just for you, so you don't need to think too deeply. Whatever kind of resonates with you in the moment, just sort of jot it down.
Okay. Now, yeah, this is the brutal part. Now we're going to reduce and prioritize those 10 to your top 5.
And there's research behind trying to force you to be uncomfortable, to really focus on those vital few values that are most important. So it's not easy, but it's important.
Yes?
Where is this online resource center?
The Online Resource Center. Hillary, you'd be the best one to say.
If you want to go to my recent invite and reminder invitation there, it's the link at the bottom of the message. Thank you.
We can send out, maybe we could, after today, Quinn, we could send out a link, another link to that to make it easier to people.
Well, I'll have to cut the video together and put it up there, and I'll send it out as a reminder to that anyway.
That's awesome.
Perfect. Thank you.
So Quinn's going to put this video up, and when he does, he'll include a link to the Online Resource Center for everyone in IS&T.
All right.
Now that there's things to put up there, we'll be better about pointing you to where it is. All right, time is up for that portion of the exercise. Okay. Now, if you look at your list, are your behaviors today in your life in line with these values? It's a tough question, actually. So we're going to take a look at the list again. And now you can look and see which 5 are you truly putting first in your life and career. Okay, we're just going to take 1 minute with this. Again, this is just for you. You just want to start a conversation with yourself. So if family is your top priority, are you living according to that value? Are you making options and decisions to put your family first, or other things getting in the way? And oftentimes we put our sights on achievements. And when you take a look at it, you realize the achievement that you've been pursuing isn't necessarily in line with the values that you say are important. So it's not meant to be an easy conversation, but it's a good thing to go get a cup of coffee and think about for a little while.
So you all work really hard. This is a moment to pause and reflect on what you want and what are you actually doing. And if there's a gap, it's just something to think about.
Mhm.
And we all have those gaps.
Yep. That's a great way to put it. And afterwards, it's minding that gap. That is the daily work and the real benefit of having a vision statement that we'll build in a little while. Okay, we're going to do... Okay, everybody set? So we're going to stop that. All right, so now we've got this great values list. What are we going to do? So we're going to take our values list to help determine your direction and create your vision statement. And the vision statement is really just what you want it to be. It's just a few sentences to describe what you value, what you want to do, and who you want to be. And visions are different than goals. They're both very important. But when you're forming, we're all very goal-oriented and used to forming these real strong action steps. But visions are abstract and motivating. They're meant to inspire you. And goals are concrete and tied to achievement. You can finish a goal. Okay? You're striving towards your vision. You're using that as an overarching message for yourself. So a vision is, I am committed to being a lifelong learner. And a goal is, I will register for a class spring semester. Okay? But goals are very important parts of working towards your vision, and I hope that you're enjoying today's session. The next lunch session that we have, and we'll go over the calendar at the end, we'll cover how to form SMART goals. So we hope you'll choose to attend that with us. Okay. So the benefits of creating a vision statement, they can help you succeed and motivate you. Can help you prioritize and focus by guiding your daily and long-term decisions. And can help you determine the effect you want to have at work, at home, and in your community. The uses of a vision statement, it takes your mindset from the present to the future. So often people do today what they did yesterday just because they did it yesterday. And they did it yesterday because they had done it the day before. And if you don't lift your head up and check in sometimes, and look ahead to the future, you can just kind of get into a drolly series. So your vision statement creates momentum and propels you forward and sets the bar high for yourself. It helps you break out of the rut or at least see where you truly are more clearly. Even though we are doing this in a work environment, it's very important to remember that your life has many dimensions. Okay, so I want you to consider these areas when you're formulating your vision. We're going to take a minute right now to do an exercise where we consider one of these, but think about it later on about just going through and figuring out what you feel and what you want your future to be in each one of these areas. We have family, education, financial, career, artistic, attitude, physical, pleasure, and service. So we're going to go ahead and take 2 minutes right now and just write a little bit about your vision for that area, whichever one you choose. Now, at the end, when we're going through the exercise and writing a vision statement for yourself, you can have a vision statement for each one of these areas, or you can pick one that kind of encompasses a general sense of who you are.
Examples now.
Of the vision statements.
Yeah.
So this isn't really so much developing the vision statement as it is just kind of taking stock of where you are in a particular area. So taking the time to consider these areas, you can come up with a sentence and then later use those as building blocks to help guide you closer to the vision statement. Okay. Another thing to consider as you're going through and creating your vision statement is considering your strengths. It's so very often, most people are acutely aware of their weaknesses, but they don't give themselves enough credit for their strengths. Often without reflection, we do the things we do well, and we don't realize that it's a big deal, or that we're using a skill that comes easily to us, but that might be a struggle for someone else. And examples are writing, public speaking, programming. problem solving, math. So give yourself time to go through and consider your strengths. It's good to be aware of your weaknesses, but using your strengths and playing to those and finding situations where you can kind of rise up with those is really very helpful. There are several online strength finders that you can use to dig deeper into your personal strengths, and it's a valuable little Google search. Okay, so some considerations with your vision statement. Okay, these are some questions that you might consider that might help you think about what's important to you. Okay, so we're going to give you a few minutes to think these through. Remember, this is something that will likely take you longer than the time we have today, but this is a great place to start. So we're going to take a couple of minutes for reflection upon these questions.
So we're going to give you some more time to actually take everything you've done and create a specific statement for you. We thought it'd be helpful to give you some examples, so we have a couple just to share. So I'm a leader in my organization, helping transform it into an organization that respects all the stakeholders while at the same time being the best husband and father I can be. She wrote that.
I did not.
I provide the best technical support and customer service to our clients, helping improve their business and lives, striving to solve problems with a positive attitude that spreads to my coworkers. I am a leader at work and help everyone who comes to me for assistance. I'm completing my PhD thesis and serve as a mentor to my staff. I am honest with and attentive to my family. I serve as an example and positively impact those that I cross my path in my life. I hold my personal fulfillment high on my priority list as I seek a position as a systems programmer.
And at the bottom is IS&T's vision statement. Do you want to read that?
Sure.
Fuzzy.
IS&T is a leader with VU and among peers in technology, service, quality, and agility, founded on best practices and innovation.
Great.
So now this is the real gift. Taking some of the questions that you were thinking about, some of the things you wrote on your values, other things that you wrote, we want to give you some time just to take a first cut at what might be a sentence. And so it's a real gift for you to take that time now and to integrate some of these ideas that we've come up with and using those sentences as sort of as some possibilities. So we want to give you a few minutes just to take a first cut.
Okay. We also have some reflection questions on the next slide. We'll put those up. One thing to keep in mind when you're writing your vision statement is that it's best to keep it in present tense. And a really great tip that I learned was that want and try are crutch words. So I want to be a good leader, and I want to try, to be a good mom. Now I am a leader and a good mother, and going for it. Okay?
So ideally it would start with I am, not
I wish, I want,
yeah.
I'll try. These are just some further reflection questions that may help you. Okay, we're going to give you some time. If anyone has any questions, please feel free to raise your hand, and Mark and I can come around.
But it's kind of a vision of who you would like to be, so
Yeah.
it's sort of futuristic as well.
It's
so
absolutely, yeah.
In the present, but it also has to be.
Right. It's kind of acknowledging that you have the gifts and skills that you'll need to get to work towards that. So, and honestly, if you struggle with that, I've worked with people before one-on-one, and they really struggle with that I am thing when it's like, well, I am not a vice president, and I want to be a vice president. It's like, okay, well, that's fair enough. These are just guidelines. This is your sentence. Nobody else ever needs to see this sentence. You could say, I'm the best hula dancer in the whole world, and, it's yours. So really, there is no wrong way.
It's aspirational.
That's good. It's aspirational.
So this is a work in progress. For a lot of people, this is a new experience. So like anything that's new, it's not going to be right on the first time. So we just sort of let you know that. And here's some thoughts on what you could use it for.
So you can use your vision statement. You can post your vision where you'll see it, so that it's not just something that you did, on Thursday, and that was fun, and got a free sandwich and whatever. But you can create, using it, you can create a long-term plan and work backwards. So consider the steps that you'll need to take, and what small steps will you need to take each day, month, and year to get there. It's easy to set a goal for the future, but if you don't create steps for yourself, like each day, or remind yourself of what direction you're heading in, like each day, it can be really easy to lose track. So you got to stop and reassess. Are you on track? And take specific actions to realign yourself or keep moving. Okay, does that sound familiar to anybody?
Yeah, 1 second.
Oh, what?
Can I just go back for 1 second?
Now I missed my punchline.
Sorry.
Go ahead. Go ahead.
Sorry.
Sounds like I.
So at our next session, we're going to do some
win.
goal setting that'll take your vision and actually move it forward. And the reason why we put the IS&T vision is the hope is that there's some alignment between your vision and the vision of IS&T.
Okay. So Carolyn wins the prize of what on this page sounds familiar, and it sounds like ITIL. So continual improvement in you. Some of you actually have studied service management, and ITIL may be familiar with this model over here. This is the Deming cycle. It's part of the management philosophy of W. Edward Deming, and can be used when striving for continual service improvement, again, which we've heard through ITIL. But this cycle can also work for you. So to allow you to use your vision statement to continue to move forward and not fall into old patterns or get derailed or just forget about it. So notice that, we start today, we create our vision statement, and we're planning. Okay, and then we start to do stuff. The next step, I always think is the most important. It's to check. It's to look up and see, okay, am I in line with that? Am I still moving in that direction? And take actions. But the beautiful part is that it goes back to plan. So if I made a vision statement when I was 17, and if I made a vision statement when I was 32, they'd be very, very different vision statements. And the vision statement that I have today is entirely different than either of those. So it's a continual process. We're always evolving. My father had this annoying statement when I was young. You'd walk by and you'd learn a lesson, and he'd go, "You're not done yet. You're not done yet." And so one day in high school I went, "You're never done." And he went, "Exactly." And he'd been building for that moment for my whole life. But he's got a point. So you evolve. So the vision that you write down today or that you tweak and that you have tomorrow, it may not be the one that you'll have in a week, in a month, in a year. So we have to check in. Now, we're all IT people, and we all know how to use technology, so I suggest that you take out your phones and schedule an exchange meeting with yourself in 1 to 3 months. I'm completely serious.
Just accept it.
Yeah. Make sure you accept your own meeting request. Just to take a walk, or think about it on your commute, or do something. Just to check in with yourself. It's not a bad thing to do. So we have some additional suggested exercises. This is from the Kumbaya site of vision and values. Everyone keeps saying to me, "Are we going to sing Kumbaya?" I'm like, "No, we're not going to sing Kumbaya." So write your retirement speech. Include the key points you would make. Is there anything missing? Write a page or two about your ideal day. Okay, and I promise we wouldn't make a vision board, but you could if you wanted to. And you can also create a list of affirmations to review each day. Okay, and honestly, if this doesn't sound like you, that's fine. But that's what we want you to do from all of these sessions is take what sounds right to you, take what sticks, and the rest of it, don't feel bad at all about just letting it go by. Okay? So to wrap up what we've learned today, we want to use your values to set your priorities and shape your personal vision. Determine your strengths and focus more on them than your weaknesses. Create your personal vision statement to inspire you and give yourself direction, and take time for reflection. And there's my little exchange note. So, does anybody have any other questions as we wrap up today?
Several years ago, I attended a seminar elsewhere that went through some of these similar things.
Mm-hmm.
And one of the things that the guy who hosted that was emphasizing are to use as a vehicle to think about yourself is to write your own obit.
Yeah.
And something like that, to just say, in effect, how would you like to have people think of you when you're gone?
It's a great...
And it's an interesting thing to think about. And the other thing that he emphasized was to arrive at what do you value highly in this life, to reflect on the things that give you satisfaction, deep down satisfaction, to make you feel like that's something worth accomplishing.
That's great. Wonderful. Well, I hope some people who may not have been open to or exposed to some of those thoughts got a little taste of that today and found ways that you think that you might be able to do some of that work on your own. If anybody does have any follow-up questions or wants to go through some of these a little bit deeper, feel free to get in touch with me and Mark, and we'd really be happy to talk about it with you. So, any other questions?
Are you going to be sending out a survey?
Thank you, Hillary. We are going to be sending out a survey for this. If you could take some time and fill that out, it would be really, really helpful for us as we go forward. Please feel free if there are any ideas or if there are any sessions that you don't see reflected here that you were hoping that we would have. We would love to hear your ideas. If you found this to be helpful or entertaining in any way, do tell your colleagues. We will include the presentation and the video up on the online resource center. We'll make sure that everybody knows where all that is. But just because we're talking about vision and values doesn't mean we don't want metrics. So if you could do the survey, that'd be super helpful for us.
I knew you would slip something in.
I started with ITIL. I think I was up front about it. So, well, thank you so much for coming. This is really fun for us, and we appreciate so many people coming out. I know it's such a busy day for you. So thank you very much.